Deputy Marshal Frank Dalton gallops his steed across the Cherokee wilderness, departing his Arkansas base at Fort Smith to hunt down the outlaw Dave Smith, who's been stealing horses. Riding alongside him is Deputy James Cole, clutching his own arrest warrant for Smith, this one for smuggling whiskey into Indian territory. The two lawmen follow their quarry's tracks to a secluded riverside camp, where a large canvas tent dominates the clearing. From inside comes the unmistakable sounds of a family sharing their morning meal, men's voices mixing with women's chatter and children's laughter. Both deputies swing down from their saddles and advance on foot, moving with practiced caution. Dalton circles toward the tent's southern entrance, while Cole positions himself on the northern flank. With his Winchester gripped firmly in his right hand, Dalton reaches out with his left to pull back the tent flap. The moment he leans forward to peer inside, chaos erupts. Lizzie Smith, the horse thief's wife, lunges forward and seizes Dalton's rifle barrel, shoving it skyward. The startled marshal stumbles backward just as Dave Smith drops the child he's been holding, snatches up his own rifle, and bursts from the tent like a man possessed. "Don't shoot, I want no trouble," Dalton calls out desperately, but his words fall on deaf ears. Dave's rifle roars at point-blank range, the bullet slamming into the lawman's chest. From the opposite side of the tent, Deputy Cole's answering shot cracks through the morning air, catching Dave square in the back. Jenny Dixon lunged forward, her desperate hands clamping down on Cole's rifle barrel, trying to wrestle it away from the chaos, but Cole wrenched free with savage determination. His weapon roared twice in quick succession, the first shot punching into Jenny's chest, dropping her instantly, while the second caught Lee's shoulder, spinning him around with a grunt of pain. Through the gunsmoke and screaming, Joe and Elizabeth Pearson clutched their infant daughter tight and bolted for the tree line, their bare feet pounding against the forest floor. Cole scrambled for the nearest cover, pausing only to shout at the motionless Dalton sprawled nearby. "You hit?" Cole called out, but received only eerie silence in return. Diving behind a massive oak, Cole felt bark explode around his head as enemy bullets carved deadly patterns through the air. He burned through his ammunition in desperate bursts, then melted deeper into the woodland shadows to reload with trembling fingers. Two distinct rifle cracks echoed through the darkness. Spotting Cole's retreat, Will Towerley advanced on the fallen lawman with predatory intent. Standing over Dalton's helpless form, Towerley coldly executed him with two point-blank shots to the head. The lawman's pleas for mercy died with him in the dirt. As Cole battled through the underbrush toward Fort Smith to summon reinforcements, Towerley grabbed the fallen lawman's weapon and disappeared into the forest shadows without a trace. The immediate carnage had ended, but the trail of death was far from over. When the dust settled and reinforcements arrived at the blood-soaked campsite, the grim tally became clear. Frank Dalton and Dave Smith lay cold in the dirt, joined by Jenny Dixon in death's embrace. They buried Dave right there beside the torn canvas that had started it all. Lee Dixon clung to life for a while longer, but his wounds proved too severe. He joined his wife in the grave soon after. The manhunt that followed was swift and merciless. Nearly a week later, on December 3rd, a determined band of lawmen cornered William Towerley at his family's homestead near Atoka in Indian Territory. The final showdown erupted in a hail of gunfire that claimed Towerley's life, but not before Deputy U.S. Marshal Ed Stokely paid the ultimate price in the bloody exchange. Frank Dalton's death sent shockwaves through his family, driving his brothers Bob, Great, and Emmett to pin on badges and seek justice as deputy marshals themselves. But the Dalton name was destined for infamy rather than honor. Bob's career ended in disgrace when he was caught taking bribes, while whispers of cattle rustling forced Grat and Emmett to abandon their law enforcement careers entirely. The brothers' descent into outlawry reached its catastrophic climax in 1892 during their audacious attempt to rob two banks simultaneously in Coffeyville, Kansas, a foolhardy scheme that left Bob and Great bleeding out in the streets. As for James Cole, the violence that began that fateful night seemed to follow him like a curse. A full decade after the deadly confrontation at the campsite, he found himself facing a manslaughter conviction for killing another man during what should have been a routine arrest. Some men, it seemed, were simply born to live and die by the gun.